Good evening, Sport Zonians. How's everybody doing out there tonight? I am Mike Aguiloro. I am your host for this is Sports Zone. Coming to you live like we do each and every week here via the I-95 Sports and Entertainment Radio Network and, of course, Blackjack TV, which our replay will air on Blackjack TV, I believe, tomorrow. So I thank Bobby Guarente, the president and head of the I-95 Sports and Entertainment Radio Network and Blackjack TV for allowing us to do this each and every week. And we got a great show for you. Tonight we'll be joined by Dave Hastings and hopefully Erich in a matter of moments here. And we got a lot to talk about tonight. The second half of the baseball season is in full effect. It began on Friday, which, of course, was promptly followed by a Met loss, but they've won their last two. They're taking on the Twins tonight. So we got that. 9 games under 500 right now. And, of course, Zach Wheeler goes on the injured list yesterday. I can't remember if I brought this up before, but I know this is the first year that baseball is calling it the injured list rather than the disabled list. It's kind of a big deal to a lot of people because of the reason that baseball had announced of why they were doing it, because it was offending people with disabilities. Why didn't you just come out and say we're the only sport that still calls it the disabled list? We're just going to do what every other sport is doing, calling it the injured list. If you just said that, nobody would have cared. But anyway, that's beside the point. So we got some baseball to talk about, too. Zach Wheeler going on the injured list, like I said. Does that hurt his trade value? Of course, Brodie Van Wagenen came out end of last week and basically threw in the towel on the season and went on record as saying he felt the Mets were going to be more sellers than buyers in the coming weeks, which, I mean, it's not really a big surprise. It's really a disappointing way to see the season go, but it is what it is. So we got that to talk about. Football, training camps, OTAs, and all that stuff will be starting up soon. So we'll get into a little bit of that with Dave and Erich in a little bit. And the big news in basketball, obviously, the big moves of the NBA postseason are kind of winding down, but we still had one more last week. I believe it was last Thursday when the Thunder, who were in the market of shopping Russell Westbrook after the trade of Paul George earlier in the week, they wound up trading Russell Westbrook, the face of their franchise, to the Houston Rockets for 4 draft picks, I believe. 2 first-round draft picks and 2 pick swaps in those years. I believe they were between the years of 2024 and 2026. I could be a little wrong on that. And I guess Chris Paul as well. Remains to be seen whether or not he will be traded later in, if not the season, in the off season. Because, of course, it makes sense for them to try to trade Chris Paul before the season starts. But, you know, he likes to get hurt every now and then, and again and again and again and again. So we have that, and joining us here tonight, he is here, ladies and gentlemen. Erich Tressler is with us tonight. How you doing, Erich?
Doing good, Mike. How you doing?
Not too bad. I want to start off the show asking you a question that has nothing to do with sports. Are you a fan of the Beatles?
To an extent.
You disappoint me there, Erich. Okay.
I'm not I wouldn't say I own every Beatles album ever, and I'm crazy, but I know a ton of Beatles songs. I think everybody does. Do I sing along? Sure. Do I like some of them? Sure. But do I go for any deep cuts? Probably not.
Well, I mean, it depends what you consider a deep cut, because the thing about the Beatles, and I learned this on Friday night, they have so many songs. Like, honestly, I never really stopped and realized.
I know, but I'm just saying, like, if you just think about it, they had, like, I think 21 or 27 number 1 hits. If you think about that, like, if you just took those songs, like, You know, I think that's enough. That's about my catalog. I don't need to go any deeper than that.
Well, I mean, I guess it depends. Like, see, me, it's a little different because I grew up a Beatles fan. My mother, self-proclaimed flower child from the '60s. She was a huge Beatles fan. I got the Beatles and the rock side from my mom, and I got like the Motown side from my dad. So that's kind of how that one went. So I grew up, like, I watched Hard Day's Night a whole bunch of times when I was a kid. I watched Help a whole bunch of times when I was a kid. I was heavily into the Beatles. But anyway, the reason why I bring this up, and Dave Hastings is here tonight too. Dave, how you doing?
Doing good, Mike. Doing good. How about yourself?
All right. I'm going to ask you the same question I just asked Erich. Beatles fan?
I mean, appreciate and respect what they did, but I wouldn't be. I'm not somebody that could sing the lyrics to their songs. That's for sure.
You guys disappoint me. But anyway, no. Here's the point.
No, listen, I came from a rock and roll background. You know, I came from, you know, I also came from more country than I would say, you know, soul or anything like that. But I mean, I know it all. I like it all. It's
well, I'm happy.
But I'm more Springsteen. I'm more Springsteen than I am the Beatles.
Yeah. I really listen. I'm not going to get on you guys for who you listen to. That's fine. But anyway, the reason why I brought this up, even though I am glad my cousin is in the chat room because he's a Beatles fan. I know he is. I always see stuff on the anniversary of John Lennon's death, so I know he's a Beatles fan. Anyway, I bring this up because I saw a movie last week that I highly, 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 highly recommend to anyone who considers themselves a Beatles fan. You guys see the commercials for this movie yesterday?
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Okay. Erich?
I've seen the commercials.
Okay. This is an awesome movie. I won't say like I loved it. I thought it was the greatest movie of all time. I'm not saying anything like that. I'm just saying, as a guy who grew up with the Beatles, this is a movie that I think you guys would still get something out of it too. Like even you know, casual listeners, we will say, of you guys. It's a really well done movie. It's a weird premise that one day everybody wakes up and forgets the Beatles except this one guy. But they played it really well, I thought. And there's a couple moments later in the movie that, like I said, as a guy who grew up with the Beatles, really got me. And even if it doesn't get you like that, I still think you guys would get a lot out of it. And you get to listen to Beatles music for 2 hours. What can be wrong?
This is true. Like
yeah.
I said, I'm not. It's not like I know them that well, but I definitely respect and appreciate the music they did make.
Well, I will tell you this. I said to Erich before you came on the air, I had no idea truly how deep the Beatles catalog was. Because, Erich, I kind of actually fell into your camp, where it's, you know, I got a bunch of music downloaded. I had about 20 to 30 Beatles songs. I was like, okay, that's enough. I get out of the movie, and there's a lot of songs on there that it's like, dude, I know I've heard these songs many times, but I don't have these songs. So I started downloading them. I was still on vacation last week. You guys want to guess how many Beatles songs I had downloaded by the end of the night?
All of them?
No, not all of them. That's the thing. I had about 90 songs downloaded, and I'm sure there's still about 70 I didn't have.
Yeah, they do have one hell of a what's it called? A catalog.
Yeah, it's amazing. And listen, not all of them are great, but the vast majority of them are really good. Oh, my cousin is saying Strawberry Fields. You can download all the albums for like $149. I'm sure you can, but I downloaded 90 songs for free, David. So I'm gonna have to go with my route on that one. But I appreciate you putting that out there. So. All right, so I just started off on the random topic here. I'm going to let you guys start off on whatever topic you would like to tonight. Erich, how about we start with you? What stuck out to you this week?
I don't know. I'll be honest. I had a busy week, so I mean, I wasn't as in tune as I normally am. So I mean, pretty much happy that the second half of baseball's kicked off. Football's right around the corner. More talk about that, I'm sure, is to come. The big news, Russell Westbrook getting traded. We haven't talked that yet. So, I mean... that came out... It's more parity. It's just more parity across the league is what it is. And now it's just... I want to bring up an interesting point to you guys. And I just thought about it a little while ago while I was thinking about this trade. And how they still need to find a landing spot for Chris Paul because we know it's not there in Oklahoma City. But
No.
I'm wondering, is Chris Paul falling into the Carmelo Anthony school of thought when it comes to other players? Of they're like, I don't know if we can really win with Chris Paul. Kind of like they just were like, I don't know if we can win with Melo. Wants the ball a little too much, a little too headstrong, a little too, got a little too much personality, doesn't want to take a backseat. Like, I don't know. Maybe I'm just wondering, with no big-time suitors really stepping up to even attempt to make a move yet for him, is Chris Paul kind of the next Carmelo Anthony?
Well, looks like they have more in common than the banana boat then. Dave, how about you start us off on this one, and I'll follow up.
I mean, look, from what you're starting to hear and some of the things that are starting to come out, it sounds like not everybody loves playing with Chris Paul, but, I mean, at the same time, I can only go off of what I know, and what I know is, to me, he's just not what he used to be, and I don't think he's really somebody anybody's willing to rely on to help make a championship run. He's definitely, fallen off a little bit, but I think part of that's also due to how much Harden dominated the ball, where, throughout Paul's career, we've watched him be the ball dominant player. So I think that's part of it, but, I think for him, now he gets to go to a team, and he's in OKC. He gets to play with a whole bunch of, young kids that probably grew up watching him play. So, maybe he can help develop them, or maybe he is the locker room headache / cancer that some people are saying he is. And, it could be one of the last seasons we see Chris Paul play, whether it's by his choice or, kind of going the Carmelo route, and just nobody's willing to pay him or take him onto their roster.
Well, here's the thing. I don't necessarily disagree with that statement. The initial one from Erich. I do think it's for a different reason than Melo, though, because if you believe any of the rumors that led to the fallout between Harden and Paul, it was about the fact that Harden, ball dominated, likes to do the ISO thing. Chris Paul wanted it to be more about ball movement and everything. And as much as he can be considered a ball dominant guard, he's not the type of guy who's ever averaged like 25, 30 points a game. He's never really been that guy. I think more of it is some of the behind-the-scenes stuff, because we still don't really know what led to the fallout with Los Angeles and Doc Rivers and Blake Griffin and DeAndre Jordan and all that stuff. So you got all that stuff there. Then you got the fallout with Harden. I don't think that is the deterrent, though. I think it's when you take that in combination with the amount of injuries this guy has had over the last 5 years and how it seems like he almost can never stay healthy in the playoffs. I think when you take those two things combined, I think the totality of those things is what's driving people away, as opposed to just any one thing. Because when you combine those factors, it does kind of look, from someone who doesn't really know him too well, that that could be a recipe for disaster. So I'd say it's a combination of a lot of things, and a lot of things that Melo didn't exactly have going for him at that particular point in time. What do you say, Erich?
I mean, I agree with some of the points you're making. I wasn't saying it was an exact comparison as far as...
No. I got what you were saying. Yeah.
I'm just saying as, he's kind of not washed up, but just, not a 47 or 40-plus $1 million a year player. The other stars around the league kind of know that. And, when you show up on a team and you're making that much money, it's inherently just something that's going to be, looked at by your peers. So, I mean, I don't know. I just think it could be, I think that's what part of it was with Melo at the end of his career. I mean, he was paid so much money, but he really was a shell of his former self. And when it comes down to that, you can't afford to pay a guy that much money and not get the production out of him. The Knicks learned the hard way, and I don't know I just wonder what team's going to step up, take him on, give him a chance. I think there's a team out there that will, but I don't know. I'm a little surprised that a move hasn't been made already.
Yeah, Dave, I remember when the move first came down, you had mentioned you thought he was going to end up in Miami, and I don't know if you said it in a joking
I still
fashion.
like my three trade, team scenario trade. I still like that. Say
it again. Say it again.
I'm just saying, I threw it out there. Warriors are going to need a little help this season, being that Clay is down. Chris Paul was 40% shooter last year from behind the arc. It's, a guy that you could kind of plug and play for right now until Clay gets healthy. I thought maybe Chris Paul to the Warriors. The Warriors then in turn sent D'Angelo Russell to go play with Jimmy Butler in Miami because they'll have the money and the room for him down there in Miami. They'll find a way to make that work. They're going to send money or picks and players back to Oklahoma City, and as well as the Warriors will probably end up sending maybe a second-round pick, something else back to Oklahoma City as well. Oklahoma City will continue to stock up on young talent and draft picks. And for the next 5 years, it'll be Pelicans and Thunder draft night.
I don't think the Pelicans are going to be in the doldrums for that long, tell you the truth. If everything pans out with them.
No, the amount of picks they have. Go look at the amount of picks that they've accumulated.
No, the Thunder. Yeah, no, I absolutely hear you on that.
The Lakers, too.
Well, the Pelicans got to deal with the Lakers, but, I mean, come on. I'm just saying, with the amount of picks, because they got like 8 first-round picks out of the trades with Westbrook, George, and they got a first-round draft pick for sending Jeremy Grant over to Denver. Like, I know the Pelicans, they get like 5 first-round picks from the Lakers? Obviously, they got those, but I still think the Pelicans have a better combination of young talent right now with future assets than the Thunder do, which would make me think that they're not going to be at the bottom for very long. What do you say, Dave?
No, I don't picture the Pelicans being, down there very long, but I don't see the Lakers, riding high for more than 2 or 3 years. And I genuinely think Erich's got a really good point. I could definitely see a Pelicans Thunder dominated draft at least over the next year, next two drafts. There you go. That's what I'm trying to say.
Next year, I think definitely. I'll give him that. Yeah.
But either way, I mean, look, bottom line is the Thunder did what they had to do. They, I think they made the right move. You get Westbrook out of there, let him go somewhere else. And, when it comes down to, what they do in the draft, I mean, that all has to do with who comes up. There's really no other way to look at it. I mean, none of us are out here prospecting high school kids playing basketball. So it's not like we have any idea what's coming up, but.
Mm-hmm.
There is no next Zion right now from what I'm hearing, or, I don't know. Usually you hear some kind of hype about either some high schooler or like, maybe we got to wait till September until the hype builds, but I don't know. I haven't heard that name yet circulating, so I don't know if this next year's draft is going to produce the talent that the top 3 in this year's draft produced.
Yeah, the most talked about young kids I've heard of are LeBron and Dwayne Wade's kids. So I'm pretty sure they're freshmen in high school, so that's still another 5 years out.
Yeah, at least. I'll tell you this, though. I mean, it's always possible that someone comes in like Zion because, Erich, you know this one a little better than me. But it seems like I had no idea who Zion was until that opening night Duke game where he kind of blasted on the scene, and then the hype train was geared up and ready to go.
Yeah, it went.
No, I had heard of Zion.
Go ahead, Dave.
I had heard of Zion. I'll just say that.
Oh, okay. Dave?
Yeah, no, I mean, I heard of him before the college season started, but once that first game happened, the hype train just really took off at high speeds.
Fair enough. Last basketball point, because we've talked about the Thunder side of this. And, Erich, to go back to your trade proposal, I don't think I don't think that was a bad proposal. I don't see Chris Paul ending up on the Warriors or the Lakers because now everybody's got this insane idea that the Thunder are going to buy out the last 3 years of Paul's contract and he's going to end up on the Lakers. And I think that is absolutely ridiculous to think the Thunder are going to do that just to hand him to the Lakers. I don't think that'll happen. Your trade proposal, I think, is reasonable, but I don't think it's going to happen. I think he's just going to go straight to Miami, truthfully.
I don't think it's going to happen either. I was just throwing it out there, and I just don't see Oklahoma City having enough or buying out Chris Paul's contracts. I mean, the amount of money he's owed more than $120 million over the next 3 years.
Yeah, it's insane.
What kind of number can you buy him out at? I mean, I'm not accepting anything less than that. So, I mean, give me all my money and I'll go away, then that's fine. But he's grossly overpaid and would never get that from a team like the Lakers, who right now in that cap situation would have to give him the mid-level exception probably. So,
Absolutely.
I mean, I just don't see him taking a $30 million buyout to go sign for for $5 million with the Lakers or whatever they get, or $9 million or whatever it is, the number, and I just don't see that happening, Eden.
I agree.
In a sense, he's a leader of the NBA Players Union. It doesn't make sense for him to do.
I agree. I want to look at the Houston side of this because you hear people saying that this is a recipe for disaster. And I'll start this off by saying, while I see that point, and the fact is 7 years since these guys have been teammates is a very long time, and they're both totally different players than they were in those early days with the Thunder, I think they're going to be a great team duo to watch. And I think the Rockets put themselves back firmly in the championship hunt with this trade. Dave, I'll start with you, though. What do you think?
No, I don't see that trade happening. Yeah, I mean, we can keep it as simple as that. I don't see that trade happening.
No, I was going to say, I was talking about the Rockets side of this, though. The pairing of Westbrook and Paul. Because, you've heard the detractors saying, oh, these guys ain't going to be...
Harden, Westbrook and Harden.
Who did I say?
Paul.
I'm just happy you guys knew what I meant. Freudian slip. What did you think of this trade from the Rockets side, though, Dave?
I mean, honestly, you got to do something to switch it up a little bit. I don't see how the two of them work together. Like, I really just don't see how it's going to happen, but you never know. Both guys have been, Russell actually has averaged a triple-double over the last 2 years, and pretty sure Harden's only like an assist short of averaging a triple-double over the last 2 years.
Something like that.
So I'm kind of curious to see how that works between the two of them and, what kind of, dynamic they have together. But look, when it's all said and done, you have two of the best individual players in the league. How they play together, remains to be seen, and we just won't know until you see it. So basically all I'm going to say when it comes down to how I think that trade will work out is I think they'll win games, but I don't think it's enough to get past Lakers, Golden State, Clippers. Yeah, I don't think it's enough to get past any of those three teams. I mean, maybe if Golden State keeps Clay out for the whole year, but other than that, no.
Let me put it to you this way then, since this seems to be the trend in the NBA right now, with the dynamic duo as opposed to the three-headed monster. Let's put it in the NBA Jam's perspective. Which duo do you want on the court? Which duo do you think you're stepping on the court with to win? Because I'll tell you what, I'm taking Harden and Westbrook over James and Davis right now. I don't know. I'm taking in its current state and form. I'm definitely taking them over Steph and Draymond with no Clay. I think they're I don't know. I think it's pretty even with Kawhi and Paul George.
That would be my pick, Kawhi and Paul George. That's who I would take in NBA Jam.
But then you got Giannis, and then who are you going to pair him with? Chris Middleton, I guess. I mean, I don't know if you're picking that team. Who was
No.
the MVP?
No.
Hey, listen.
No, you're not.
I definitely agree with his statement. I think he's only at 60%. But for the purposes here, he doesn't have that dynamic duo partner yet. He doesn't have that yet. He's got some really good pieces around him. Bledsoe, Middleton, the Lopez brothers. You know, he's got some good players around him. For what we're talking about here, there's no duo in Milwaukee. It's all Giannis. Go ahead, Dave.
Yeah, I mean, look, if we're looking at NBA, you know, jam style 2-on-2, then yeah, I'd be kind of split between whether I'd go Harden, Westbrook, or, you know, Paul George and Kawhi. I mean, if that's how we're looking at it, strictly the 2-on-2 aspect of it, then yeah, I'd be torn between the two of them. I think offensively you get more out of Westbrook and Harden, but defensively you get more out of Leonard and Paul George, and yet they can still both score. So I'd probably still lean more towards them. But if we're strictly talking NBA champ, then yeah, then I have Westbrook and Harden as 1B to, you know, Paul George and Leonard's 1A. But that's obviously, we all know there's more to it than that. But I definitely think that, you know, if we're looking at it that way, that's about the best I could do.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what. Let's stick with the video games for a second, because I want to transition out of this to something that's become a debated topic recently, and I really don't understand why. What do you think of the NFL players getting pissed off at their rankings in the Madden games? Because I think it's the dumbest thing I've ever heard in my entire life.
All right, so I'm a Madden guy, so I kind of want to let Eric go first on this one.
Go ahead.
I'll be honest, I could care less how they feel about their Madden ratings. What I thought was funny was actually Tom Brady's response to his speed on the Madden ratings.
I heard about.
Put up like a meme of him like running across. So I mean, I don't know. I thought like some people took it on the chin. I mean, listen, it's a video game. You get mad at your ranking, do something about it. The better you play, the better your ranking will be. So
right on.
take it as some kind of self-reflection. I mean, listen, is it perfect? No. Do they get everything right? Absolutely not. But it's just a video game. And, I mean, at least be happy you're represented in a video game. I don't know. I don't think that they I think it's kind of crybaby nonsense.
I totally agree with you there, Eric. Go ahead, Dave.
So I'll say this, and it kind of connects with, you know, what Eric just said about, you know, you want to change it, do something about it. Every single week, Madden updates the rosters based off of the past week's performance. As the year goes on, they have more information to work with, and players' ratings go up and they go down, and so on and so forth. What I find amusing is the different reactions. I actually find it entertaining. You know, you have like Jarvis Landry. He's so mad about the route running ratings that they gave him and his overall rating that he's boycotting Madden this year. Then you have some of the younger guys coming out, and they're literally like, I've played Madden my entire life and dreamed of this moment. I don't care what the hell my rating is. I'm so happy to be in Madden. Then you get DeMarcus Lawrence coming out and saying how disrespected he feels by being the fourth overall rated defensive end in the game, and how mad he was about that. And what I find amusing is that he literally tweeted to Dallas Cowboys followers and, you know, quote, you know, hashtag Cowboys Nation, you know, saying until Madden makes a change to his overall, all Cowboys fans should boycott the game. You know, and like, so like that to me was like, either way, I'm with you guys. It's stupid. Bottom line is, get out on the field and prove them that they're wrong. Get your ratings increased that way if it bothers you that much. Outside of that, I really think that it's funny and it's entertaining to me. And I think that what makes it so funny is it just kind of continues to show how competitive these guys are. And, you know, they actually genuinely care about how they're viewed and how they're looked at amongst their peers and individually. And like I said, it's just funny, but there are parts of it that I actually genuinely enjoy. So I enjoyed the 2-day rant that has gone on social media by the professional the NFL players, and Tom Brady won the social media day with that video he posted because it was straight like Sonic the Hedgehog level speed that he posted himself running at, and I just like that to me, just like that shows you the difference. You got 39, 40-year-old Brady posting a video like that, having fun with it. And then you got these guys that are, in their early and mid-20s, and they're like freaking the hell out about it. So,
and I just want to let Jarvis Landry know. I just want to put him on notice right now. If you think your rating is going to go up, you're crazy because you just added Odell Beckham. So now your catches are going to go down. Your yardage is going to go down. Your touchdowns are going to go down. There's not much that's going to go up for Jarvis Landry. So, I mean, I think he's grabbing at straws right now. I mean, unless Baker Mayfield's got 4 footballs he's throwing every possession, there's just not enough balls to go around.
or if he's throwing 500 yards a game or something like that. I give you that. It's almost like people getting pissed off at their fantasy rankings. It's like, it's great. It's great for us being fantasy football guys and, video game guys and stuff like that. But it's like, if this is what you're worried about as a professional athlete, you think Michael Jordan cared what he was rated in whatever basketball game came out in the 90s? Come on. But
actually, Michael Jordan was the only NBA player that was never in an NBA game until after he retired.
Oh, is that true?
Yeah.
I had one basketball game when I was a kid, so I don't remember.
True. That's why you would never pick the Bulls, really, in NBA Jam, because he just wasn't there.
Yeah, he refused to.
Oh, wow.
In NBA Jam, you got Ron Harper and Scottie Pippen. Those are the guys.
Oh, right.
And who was the third one? There was a third one. Was it Kerr?
It was Rodman.
No, it was either Rodman or Horace Grant. Yeah.
Yeah. But, what Jordan did was it wasn't until after he retired, he bought a portion of the NBA 2K game, and the first game they released after that was titled NBA 2K, like Michael Jordan or something like that. And that was the first NBA game that his name was actually licensed and allowed to be in. Other than that, when you played with the Bulls in like the NBA Live games of the 90s and mid-late 90s and the really early 2000s, when you played that and you played with the Bulls, it was The Player was his name. And his number, I think, was something like 44 or 40 or – because they couldn't even use his actual number.
Well, he ain't the only one who did something like that. Now that I think about it, you guys remember Bonds did the same thing in the baseball games, like the year he broke the record. Yeah, he was the same thing. It was like S player or T player or something like that. He did the same thing. He wouldn't let him use his likeness. So, okay. I'll tell you the one thing, and Eric, I want to hear a little vitriol from you out of this because I don't get this. Did Eli Manning really get ranked as the lowest ranked starting quarterback in the NFL in Madden?
He might have. I'm not sure. I'll be honest. I don't have any vitriol either. Listen, again,
I was like, really?
2 shits what a video game says about Eli Manning. I know what the press says about Eli Manning. I know what everybody says about Eli Manning. I'm all right with it. I really am. 2 Super Bowls. I'll take it. If I told you were going to get a quarterback for the next 15 years and you're going to get 2 Super Bowls out of him, you'd sign up for it all day long. So I'm good with it. Whatever his rating is, I hope he comes out with a video just as funny as Tom Brady's and goofs off about it. It doesn't bother me. I think they actually had him. I don't even know. Ranked below. Because he was below all the NFL quarterbacks. I think he was below the guys who just got drafted, like Murray and stuff. I think
he's only 1 point higher than Jones, who they drafted. He's
which I think is and Jones probably deserves the ranking he got. Eli, listen, I think he's gotten a bad rap. I think he's going to have not a bounce back year, but I don't think he's going to have a bad year. I don't think it's going to be as bad as the last 2 years even.
Okay. And I just want to second something that Eric just said really quick. If you told me that I'm going to have a quarterback for the next 15 years that's going to have a slightly rough start, win me 2 Super Bowls, and then have a rough last couple years of his career, I would still sign up for that.
Oh, that draft class, man, that's what you got between him and Ben Roethlisberger. Sucks Phillip Rivers ain't won anything. But between the three of them, that's one of the best quarterback draft classes of all time, in my opinion.
That's what I'm just saying. Erich, I don't think you sound like a biased Giants fan at all. I think you're 100% correct as an NFL fan.
And just to put it in perspective, Roethlisberger 2 Super Bowls, Eli 2 Super Bowls. Arguably, Rivers has the best numbers of them all. I don't know. Arguably, a lot of people would probably, if you looked on the rankings right now, it'll probably have Rivers maybe ranked above where Roethlisberger even is. But yet, he doesn't have any Super Bowls. So, I don't know how much I really give a damn about the rankings or what people say about the quarterbacks. It's about the eye test and winning football games. I don't know when it became about systems and this and that. It should be about winning football games. Is my quarterback going out there and winning? That's what's important. Now, the last 2 years, Eli has not done that. So I will not defend his play the last couple of years. But again, I think the offensive line has been a big part of that. I think that, the turmoil inside the place has been a part of that. The coaching changes, this, that. So, I think that there's been reasons for his decline. But I also don't think it's the end either. So we'll see what this year has to bring, and then, welcome in Daniel Jones some point after that.
Well, let's be honest. The whole system debate started with Tom Brady. That's where it started. That's where it came from. It kind of trickled over to Eli after that. So that's where that one came from. My cousin is chiming in saying Rivers had a great running back for the first half of his career. Eli and Big Ben never had that. Yeah, but Eli was definitely helped by Ahmad Bradshaw and Brandon Jacobs. And Big Ben did have Le'Veon Bell for the last few years. And he had Jerome Betts for at least one of those Super Bowl wins. So they all had some good running backs. Having a top running back doesn't necessarily guarantee you anything, as the Chargers found out by the fact that they never made a conference final. Anyway,
yeah, look. Bottom line is, and we're all smart enough to know this. You could have the greatest quarterback in the world, but if you don't have a team around him, it makes absolutely no difference. It's that simple.
Yep.
Patrick Mahomes played a better game than Tom Brady did, and Tom Brady's Patriots were able to win and go on to the Super Bowl. Perfect. Your cousin David throws Rodgers' name in there. Rodgers has been one of the best quarterbacks in the league for how many years, and he has won Super Bowl. So
Drew
Brees. There's another. I don't care how great your quarterback is. You need more than just a
Dan Marino never won one.
Yeah, that's true.
Hell, think about how long.
No, he's throwing Romo at us now, Dave. You see that?
Hey, no, listen here. Think about it too. Would you sign up for Elway's career? You'd sign up.
Yeah, absolutely.
You'd sign up for those 2 Super Bowls too. You know what I mean? I think Eli is unfairly judged because he's in the New York market. And listen, New York fans are a different breed. They're a different type. They expect to win every year. When they don't, it's, everybody's got to go. And I think that a lot of people have been on.
The freaking
Yankees
everybody's for that.
Who's the Giants? Listen, the Giants have been to their fair share of Super Bowls. They're no slouches to the game. It's really just the Mets, the Jets, and the Islanders and the Nets, the Knicks, the Rangers. Yeah, just outside of the Yankees and the Giants, and that's about it. The rest of the city doesn't win very much.
We're gonna segue out of that right now. We don't need to talk about the bottom of New York teams. So we got about 4 minutes left here. I'm gonna let you guys do some final thoughts right now. Dave Hastings.
Honestly, man, the first team goes to training camp tomorrow with the Denver Broncos. Football season is basically here. We're you guys both live in the tri-state area with me. We're in the midst of the beginning of real summer weather this week. You know,
Sucks.
so oh, see, I love it. I'm sorry, I love it.
60s and 70s. It does not need to be higher than 60s or 70s. Give me 7 months of 60s and 70s weather, and I'm fine.
Yeah, see, I'm more 70s, 80s, and I don't mind the 90s either. But that's just me. I'm weird like that. I don't know how else to say it. I really am. I will go. I'm the guy that went out for a run that we had today. Like, but you won't see me outside running in 70-degree weather. Like, I don't know. I'm weird. I know. I get it. No, I understand. No.
Thank you.
But in all honesty, man, I just appreciate the summer while you have it, because we all know once football gets rolling, that means the summer days are almost over, and you're pushing back to that fall and winter weather, and I just hate that time of the year. So at least from my perspective, enjoy it while you can, and not to steal Erich's phrase, but since it's kind of related to the topic, stay sweaty.
There you go. Stay sweaty, my friends. Yes, Erich Tressler.
Tiger or the field?
Oh, what Open is it this week?
Isn't it the Open in Scotland?
Is that this week?
Okay.
Is it Scotland or is it Ireland? It's being played for the first time there in like 80 years, I think, or something. So it's kind of significant. I don't think it's obviously, of course, Tiger's played before, but and he's just recently talked about how hard it was for him to prepare to win the Masters and what it only took out of him to do that, and why he hasn't performed as well since. But I just still am going to throw the question out there because the guy's got 15 of them. Tiger or the field?
The field.
Yeah, it's you're right. Is it the Open Championship this weekend? I'm going to go with the field as well. I think if Tiger's going to be winning majors, he's most likely one a year at best. But yeah, I think I'm definitely going to take the field on that one, and I think that it should be another good weekend of golf, though, man. And really quick, so we're talking about none of the 4 major sports. Can we just shout out the match that took place on Sunday at Wimbledon?
I was just about to do that. I was going to do.
I'll give that to you, Eric. I got my last words in. I'll give that to you.
No, go ahead. Tell them about it. Then I'll comment.
We got a little under a minute and a half here left. So
all right,
go ahead, bud.
Federer, Djokovic played one of the longest matches, if not the longest match in tennis Grand Slam championship match history, almost 5 hours long. Federer's 37 years old, and to be able to do that, if I do anything for 5.5 hours, I just want to pass the hell out. So just want to throw that out.
Yeah,
no, it's an amazing match, and I mean, if you think about it, the way Tiger dominated golf for so long, tennis has been just as equally dominated too by Federer, Nadal, and Djokovic. And the Williams sisters. It's been pretty dominant for the last group of years. I think that might be starting to change a little bit. Maybe not so much on the men's side, more on the women's side. But
yeah. All right, I do apologize. We're going to have to end this. I thank everybody for listening. Dave Hastings, Erich Tressler, as always, thank you guys for joining us. I am Mike Aglioloro. Everybody stay sweaty. We will see y'all next week.